Hello, this is a video about using plastic pots as a means to enhance your pottery. Somewhere around 2010, I tried using a plastic pot that I purchased at Home Depot to create a textured, wrinkled look to my outdoor pottery. I put wrinkled canvas inside a plastic pot and laid slabs of clay over the canvas. Then I centered the pot on the wheel, smoothed the slabs together, added coils, and threw the top. The technique soon evolved into using plastic shells for creating large pottery, and then for creating pots with purposeful, expressive textures and images. I choose a shell that meets my expectations for a graceful rise from a table. While I liked the size and shape of this plastic pot, before I added a plaster bottom, I first had to remove the raised bottom. To prepare the plastic shell for throwing, I also had to remove the skewed rim. With the rigidity of the rim gone, I reinforced the circular form with more plaster. After the plaster has cured, the plastic shell is ready to use. However, you can find plastic pots for which a plaster bottom is the only alteration that is needed. After the plaster bottom has cured, the next step is to place masking tape around the rim. After the masking tape is in place, the inside of the shell has to be completely covered with material for which the clay will release. I use paper towels. Start by cutting a piece to cover the plaster bottom. Then make trapezoidal pieces to cover the sides, from the masking tape at the top down to the plaster bottom. To hold the pieces of paper towel in place, tape the top of each piece to the masking tape. The pieces of paper should overlap about an inch or so. Keep in mind that the clay that you will place in the shell will hold the paper in place. But if necessary, use tape to hold the pieces of paper in their overlapping positions. Do not tape the paper to the plastic. After you have covered the plastic, start placing the clay slabs that will encompass the shell. Start with the clay bottom and then add the slabs that will feature your texture or images. Wherever it is needed, use pieces of clay to fill the spaces between your slabs. After the clay slabs inside the shell reach the top, that is the time to center the plastic shell for the throwing that will follow. Use your needle to cut the top of your slabs evenly. That is the reason for the masking tape. The masking tape will hold firm while you make that cut. After cutting the top even with your needle, and before you make the pot taller by adding coils, you should smooth the inside of the pot. A wood spoon is a good tool for smoothing. Smoothing can also reveal more low spots for which you may want to fill with pieces of clay. While smoothing, be cognizant of how pressure against the inside of your clay slabs might affect the texture or your images that are on the outside of those slabs. Now that the top has been cut off evenly inside the plastic shell, you will finish the form by adding coils and then by throwing those coils. An extruder is a must for making the same size 1/2 inch coils to finish the form. Before throwing, the usual scoring and tooling of coils together is expected. Once your coils get to the top of the plastic shell, use a wood tool to turn the top couple of coils away from the shell. This will be the beginning of closing the form toward its finish. As the clay in the plastic shell dries, it will shrink away from the shell. You can quicken the drying process by using a hair dryer or a heating pad. When the pot is ready for release, cracks will show between the plastic shell and the clay. To release the pot from the shell, set it upside down on the wheel and carefully pull up on the rim of the shell. Sometimes pots can be resistant to being released. This seems especially true for smaller pots. After releasing the pot from the shell, center the pot upside down on the wheel. Fill any unwanted cracks or low spots and then trim the foot. Rather than trimming the foot, you can add and center a coil, then trim it when the added coil dries to leather hard. If you wish, you can make the shell part of your pot look thrown by wetting it with a sponge and adding the concentric finger marks. Now, back to the pot that I've featured in this video. After I finished the trimming of the foot, I centered the pot in its upright position to add definitive lines between the hand-built parts of the shell and the thrown part at the top. Next is detailing. I put each pot on a banding wheel and add clay to cracks, smooth lines, and enhance texture. Here you see me using a wood tool over a piece of canvas to remove the tooling marks that I made. The plastic shell allowed for me to incorporate marbled clay into the design of this pot. The thrown part of the pot is glazed, but the marbled clay slabs at the bottom were left unglazed and later polished, similar to how granite countertops are polished. I have also used the plastic shell method to express pressed images that were filled with slip. After pressing the image into a clay slab, the image is filled with a contrasting colored slip. To push the slip into the impressed image, I cover the clay slab with wax paper and then drag a putty knife over that wax paper. After the wax paper is removed, the clay slab with image is placed in the plastic shell. When the pot is bone dry, I sand with 100 grit sandpaper to reveal the image and follow with 300 grit sandpaper to finish.